Hello everybody, welcome back. We are currently at the Windy Ridge Apiary, bee yard number 1 and the only one. It is June 1st of 2023, finally made it to June, and typical of this time of year, usually a lot of people are out to graduations. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that happens this time of year. And we got some graduations hopefully coming up here today with the bees. We're going to, sorry, the mosquitoes are terrible here. The ticks are starting to go down, and now the mosquito population has just skyrocketed, so just can't win. All right, anyway, graduation, we're hoping once I dig into the hives, the new hives a little bit here, we'll see that they're ready for a second box. So I've got a bunch of boxes stacked up over here behind me. Maybe off the distance you can see that. And got them ready to go. We'll go through how I do my boxes. And like many have said before me, and I'm not sure exactly who started it, but I know I've heard it the most from Mike Berry. Thank you, Mike, for your support. Appreciate it. This is how I do it, not necessarily what you should do, okay? So if you disagree or whatever, please leave a comment below. Or if you like what I'm doing, leave a comment below. If you don't like what I'm doing, well, you can also leave a comment on that too. But make it nice, all right? Okay, so, but as I point out in one of my last videos, we're going to fire up the smoker again here. If you've never seen a smoker before, this is what beekeepers use for putting smoke on the bees. This little feature here is not normal, and that is a flicker making noise pretty close to me here, a yellow shafted flicker. And so this is a billows here that we squeeze to get air into the chamber here, and inside the chamber we have some embers in there that are glowing and making smoke. And then as you push this, it actually comes out the top. So this is a plug, a grass plug that I put in I just picked some grass up off the lawn and shoved it down here, folded it over, shoved it in here. That's to help kill or get rid of the embers at the end. It'll help smother the fire that's inside. So we don't need that anymore. So I know it's not on fire because everything's nice and cold, and we won't burn down the place here. So what I also bring with, and I know there's at least a couple of you out there that know exactly where this box came from. We got inside my box here, I've got some starter stuff, and this is actually some cotton and some wood shavings in there. I just use that for starting. I don't use it for the whole thing. Got a spare bag along just in case, because they call it fuel, I call it just starter stuff. Because what I use for the actual running is, like I've said before, I use pellets here, the wood pellets, and these are hardwood pellets, not softwood. In fact, I have yet to see softwood pellets being sold up around these here parts. So just some wood pellets, and they go really good. They give off a nice smoke. It smells, like I said before, it smells like a campfire, not a grass fire when you get home. And there you go. And my last thing that I have, got a couple of spares here in case, but I have a butane lighter. Now this lighter has got a little starter on here. I won't do it now because I got the cap on and I have only one hand, but anyway, I can push that down and there we go. Probably can't hear that. Maybe you heard it on that one. Okay, that's what I use, I should say, to start the fire up inside. So the other thing I found is once these smokers get cold, the top on them is pretty hard at coming off. There, see it just starting to come a little bit and all that. And that's because inside of here, there's a lot of tar. Now these wood pellets do give off a lot of tar because they're not burning efficiently like you would have in a pellet stove. So they do give off a lot of tar, but I've found that if I can't get this top open on there, I can take my butane torch and I can go ahead and heat up around the edge here, and that tar will melt a little bit. And once that's melted a little bit, it's much easier to pull off. Again, be careful, it's hot, right? Hopefully I really don't have to say that, but there you go, it's hot, be careful. All right, for my starter stuff here, I'll grab a handful of this and we'll shove it down on the bottom here. Looks like I still have some leftover pellets from prior use. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but we'll get them, kind of tip it over, get them off to the side so I can get this down near the bottom. And we'll put in my starter stuff, then we'll put in, a couple handfuls of pellets here. And just enough to get started. Put in too many, you'll smother the flame and it won't light on you. So now I'm going to get in here and start this up. You'll see flame and smoke right away. Once you get some smoke in there, you're going to have to keep pumping this thing a lot. Yeah, there's smoke coming out, but it's not really, what do you want to say, fully engaged yet. It's just on a few pellets, and you got to keep convincing it that it does want to go further than just those few pellets. So, and once in a while I'll come in here, because as I tip that back over, the pellets will have a tendency to roll back over. In fact, that has been a problem in the past, where if I tip this thing over a little bit, the pellets will roll over and smother the fire. So you got to make sure that fire is going really nice and hot before you even think about closing this thing up. We're not even close to getting ready for that. So, well, I'll keep pumping along here, and we'll start it back up again when I'm ready to show you what it looks like in there. Well, as you can hopefully see, we've got a little bit more smoke here as we pump things in. One thing I've noticed that is those pellets have a tendency sometimes to get really hot and flare up a little bit. And as you can see, we're getting a lot. Can you see me? More smoke out of here now. I want to talk a bit about why we use smoke. And a lot of people think, oh, it calms the bees down. And really, that's not really what happens. It does a couple things. First of all, it will force them, if they're on top, as you'll see today, it'll force them to go down off the top of the frames onto the frames. And why is it doing that? Or I should say, why are they doing that? Well, that's because the bees think there's a forest fire nearby, or there's some sort of alarm going on that we better start hitting the honey, getting a lot of honey in case and they're actually eating it, open up, or if they got open nectar or whatever, they'll go in there and they'll start chomping down on the honey, filling up their guts with honey. So in case they do have to, excuse me, just about choked on that smoke, they're doing pretty good now. In case they do have to, if it was really a forest fire and they do have to vacate the hive, they've got a lot of stores with them so they can start again. The second thing it does is, and we'll get into this later on, it's probably more of a winter type subject that I plan on doing this winter, because we're so active now. Winter comes, it'll get a little bit slower. But what it'll does is it blocks them from smelling pheromones from other bees. And it does confuse them a little bit. And so in that confusion, I would say they're not getting calmed down. They're probably a little stressed out. That's why I try not to use too much smoke. I don't want them going down and starting to open up stores and only to have to go back and put it back. I also prefer to have them oriented, not disoriented, as much as possible, except when it comes to stings. That's a good thing about the smoker. If you get a sting, you want to smoke your finger, arm, or whatever got the sting. Yes, even in the face, just close your eyes, because that will block the smell, the pheromone, the alarm pheromone that says, hey, we got somebody, I just stung them, and I want everybody to come out and sting them. So that stops, hopefully, that. So that's why you see a lot of beekeepers, they get stung, they go psh, 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 or whatever on their arm. Yeah, really, that's it. I think we got a good amount of smoke here now. I just have to remember, and a lot of times I forget, I get so involved in this, I got to remember to come by and just give it a little bit of air once in a while, just to keep that thing going. So the other good thing about this is, since I started this up, I haven't had a single mosquito on me. Maybe bring one of these camping. That's the best fogger yet. All right, little camping tips from Jeff. Make sure that's nice and cool. Put that in there and we'll get this out of the way. Now again, the top will not be hot, but once we let that sit on there for a while, it will get hot. But there's so much wind today, I'm not so sure how much good this is going to do, but it'll, I'll just have to go upwind and smoke from the upwind side. So, all right, let me get suited up here before I dig in here. One other thing we're planning on doing today is also, I'm going to take off, we're another graduation step here, I'm going to take off the quilt boxes today. Finally, we're graduating from quilt boxes down to just standard inner covers. And kind of happy to do that. And I'll get those quilt boxes off. I'll just chuck the wood chips, see what kind of stores they still have in there. I might even pull out the, if there's any fondant left, I'll pull that out. Or I just might scrape it out and leave it at the top there. But yeah, so a couple kinds of graduations. We're gonna see if we can graduate them up to another box, get rid of the quilt box, throw on a real inner cover, and then that's kind of it for here. Let me get suited up. All right, as we get ready here, get the gloves on, gauntlets. Really like these things. I just forgot to mention earlier, 70 degrees here today. Nice, beautiful temperature. Actually, it's hot, really hot in the sun. So solar gain right off of the sun itself. But once you get in the shade here, it cools down quite a bit. We've got, you might hear it, a little bit of breeze today here at Windy Ridge, imagine that. And it's kind of cool because the wind is coming off of Lake Superior. So there'll be times when it gets downright chilly, and then the wind lets up a little bit, then it gets warm. So we've got a lot of fluctuation in temperature today. All right, well, I'm going to leave the boxes over there for now. I've got them covered up. I do have some frames in there with honey on them, and I'd rather not open that up and let bees and robbing start. So I'll keep those over there covered. If I need one, I'll go over, grab it, and bring it back. Pretty sure I will, judging by how long they've been in here. We have had the girls, well, I introduced the girls to the hive on April 24th, and then 2 days later I released the queens. So on April 26th. That means the queen has now been in here laying eggs for 5 weeks and 1 day. 5 weeks and 1 day. So that's more than one brood cycle, a little slightly less than 2 brood cycles, but you know, it doesn't always go on brood cycle. It's as soon as a cell opens up from that other cycle, it gets cleansed out and polished, the queen will come by and lay again. So it's almost an immediate, within a day or two, I'd say, that she's starting that second cycle. So it's Now, after that first brood cycle has hatched or emerged, it's now a continuous cycle. But we should have plenty of girls in here. Just heard a little rumble from off to the southwest, which is not good, because that's the direction that the storms are coming from. So both of my water jars here are empty, which is good. They didn't get a whole lot in there, but it was just kind of a supplement through the time periods where they were busy with, well, I shouldn't say busy with stuff, but not flying and doing other things because of weather. Now, our weather patterns are pretty good. Now now that we're in June, we're getting less and less chance of getting any freeze or frost. We still have the possibility of getting frost into mid-June to the third week in June. So it's still a threat, but it's getting to be less and less of a problem now. I mean, and we're talking record late frost. So, all right, we're gonna try and get the girls out of here, because I don't want this in there anymore, disrupting their flow between the hives. I'll get rid of the little bit here. They seem to be not too interested in me up here. Maybe once I start doing this, they'll get a little more excited. I do hear them humming in there. Did just get bumped a couple times there. I'm probably moving way too fast for them. I do that way too often. I'd like to get this cleaned off here, make sure that the other box fits nice and flat on here, that I'm not bumping up against the other frames. Still got some pollen patties left here. There's so much pollen coming in right now. I'll leave this here, but we're going to let them, of course they'll prefer the natural pollen. I'll just let them clean that out as their time permits. Waste not, want not, right, Mom? All right, get the brood minder all cleaned off. We're going to take and move the brood minder now up to the second box, if we're going to put it on here. And I say, judging by what I see here, I think we're ready to go. I've got, again, like I said before, I don't really count frames, I count gaps. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and about a half here. So let me grab that camera just quick, and we'll have you take a look inside so you can see what I see. So that meets my threshold level of, yeah, we can put on a new box here. So let's do that. Let's see if we can continue to shake girls out of here. Oh, there's just a couple left in here. There we go. Oh, one more. Yeah. Well, that pop noise you just heard was the sound of the microphone receiver running out of battery. More technical issues. So I'll try a voice-over narration here throughout the rest of this segment. I do eventually get it fixed again, but we'll just do the voiceover here. Well, at this point, we're checking the boxes out and telling you about how I'm going to have to take one of these frames that's in what will eventually be the bottom box here. I'll just start calling it the bottom box. And I'm going to have to take that frame up and move it into the top box, the new box. Speaking of the new box, let's go grab it over there. Thankfully, you won't have to listen to me grunt and groan and heavy breathing here as I lift these things up. But I did pre-select drawn comb for the top box. I do have one framing there that doesn't have drawn comb, but that's the one I'm going to pull out. It's just in there as a spacer so everything doesn't go kittywampus on us. But I'll be using that I'll be using one of the frames in that bottom box now and put it in the top box. And that's because we're going to want to have the frame I bring up to that second box be full of brood. Now, hopefully it'd be milk brood in there, whether it's young larvae, older larvae, some freshly capped brood, that'd be good too. Eggs are good. But the reason we do that is because we want to draw the worker bees on up into the next box. And we can do that because worker bees will not abandon their brood, and they will take care of the brood up there, and while they're up there, that's going to draw more bees up, and they will be taking care of the brood up there also. So in order to get ready for that, I need to go in and check out some of the frames in this bottom box, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here and just open it up the gap a little bit and peer down between the frames and see what candidate frames there may be here. There's those two right in the middle that look pretty good, and we'll be inspecting those here in just a second. But in order to get those out without causing injury to the workers or possibly even the queen, because when you pull a frame up and you don't leave enough room between the frames, it's possible to do what we call a roll the bees or roll the queen, and which sometimes will kill the bees, and the last thing you want to do is kill your queen. So I'm going to pull that end frame out here, and this end frame doesn't have a whole lot on it. It's got a little bit of comb on the other side that you won't see. But I do pull it out and check for a queen here and make sure I don't accidentally, it's possible the queen could have been way over there. Unlikely, but it's possible. It does happen. So I'll take the rest of the frames and start pulling them over. A little hard to do when everything is a lot of wax in there and propolis, but I pull that over just to the very edge of that box, and now it leaves a big gap in the middle. That big gap is enough for me to pull out the frame without any fear of injuring the bees. Now notice the beautiful view of that frame there right through my elbow. Yeah, one of these days I'll catch on here, folks, that there's an audience here. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And that one actually looked pretty good. There's some cap brood in there. There's some empty spaces. It probably aren't empty. They're probably filled with some milk brood and eggs. And we'll take a look at the back side of that frame now to see what that looks like. And maybe, just maybe, I will show you what that looks like on the back side there once I get done. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we got some honey there. Freshly capped brood. Notice a nice light yellowish color to that. The older cap brood is a darker brown, so that looks like a good candidate to me. But never satisfied with just one frame. Let's go check out another one just to see if we actually do have a better frame here. So we pull the next one over out to take a look at that. And this one is, wow, chock full of brood again. See, can you see that right there through my elbow? Isn't that nice? Someday. All right, here it comes. We're going to show you here, at least the back side. Chock full of brood there, and not a whole lot for milk brood in that frame. So we're going to just put that back and not use that one. Next, we're going to go over to the box, the soon-to-be top box there, and we'll pull out that spacer frame I had in there just to keep things so as I'm carrying it, it doesn't go, the frames don't go sideways and start falling out and all that. That's happened to me more than once. And I'll pull that first frame we pulled out and put that over and put that in the middle of the top box. But first we got to clean off the bottom there. There's some comb on the bottom there. Notice in that bottom box,
there's a lot more gap between the bottom of the frame and the floor of the bottom board there. So they do have a tendency to build up comb there so they can get up into the frames easily. And while we're doing that, notice there's some drone brood in that comb I just took off. So I always take a look for mites in the drone brood. And why drone? Because mites actually prefer drone brood because the drones take longer to develop than workers or queens. And so it does, they have a better chance of propagating and surviving by going into the drone brood and repopulating themselves. All right, so that looked good. I didn't see any mites in that drone brood, and this was kind of a mistake here. I shouldn't have put that empty frame back in there, and we'll correct that in just a second, because what I want to do here is get total of 9 frames in that bottom box. So that's right now I'm putting the 10th frame back in. Bad boy. I do want 9 frames in that bottom box, and that's so the comb has already been drawn out on those frames mostly, and there's not going to be any chance of overdrawing the comb and clogging the pathways. It gives them more room to go up and down more, as they're going up to the second box. So now I figured it out. Got too many frames in there, so I pull out that frame that doesn't have any comb on it, and now we're going to start to try and space it out here. I did forget to bring down my spacers. Eventually I'll go grab those, but my spacer tools, but I'm going to try doing it manually first here and eventually give up. So I do keep then 10 frames up in that top box, 9 frames in that bottom box now, and eventually I'll figure out that, hey, but be much easier to use my spacer tools. I also, in just a second here, will start to try and give the command to stop recording here, and now I see, okay, it's not working, and uh-oh, something happened again. So I'm going to go around the back side. I'm going to try the connectors here, so hold on. I get a few little pops and clicks here as I try pushing connectors in and out. I thought maybe I'd loosened up a connector when I moved the camera over for a view later. But now we discovered, okay, it's the battery. So I'll go grab these spacer tools.
But anyway, here's spacers. This is a 10 frame hive here, so I can put 10 of these frames in, as you saw. But I can also knock it back to 9 frames, and this will help me get those 9 frames evenly spaced within that 10 frame box. So do that. I usually start on one end and try and get everything aligned correctly on one end. And once I get that one end done, then things seem to fall in place for the next one. There, we're coming close. There it goes. All right. Now, if I didn't have all this stuff on top of the frames here, I would just start sliding that, put this frame on here and come down this way. But you got a lot of stuff there. But things are now pretty good, and I now have everything pretty well evenly spaced for those 9 frames in there. So, very handy tools. Now I think I'm ready. I've got my 9 frames here. I got the brood frame over here yet in the new one. This one, as I said before, I've also got a green drone frame in there. And we're going to take, and notice I've got also a vent hole there. I'm going to keep that vent hole to the front and just place that on top. And in no time, they will all of a sudden notice that, hey, we got more living space. And they'll be up here and taking care of other things up here too, like building out comb. Although I do have a lot of drawn out comb already here. They'll be hopefully up here finishing out comb on some of these. And I should quick take a look down here. Yep, I didn't. Some of these I did. Just want to get that. That's all wax that they can reuse. So there. Now that fits a little better. Get all that extra comb off the top. Okay. So, I just got a lung full of smoke there, which reminds me I probably should. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Haven't really needed it yet, thank goodness. Brood minder goes on here now because this is the top box for that. I see girls all over that frame that I had moved up. And some of these other frames will need to be cleaned off a little bit, and they got a bunch of new bees in there now that they'll be more than happy to get that cleaned off. So got that ready, and I can see that I am very well organized. So now I need to run down and back to the truck and get the inner covers. So be right back. Okay, I think we have everything now, and let's finish up this box here. They're still calm as can be. It's almost like they had no clue that they just got moved up in elevation one box, but you can see them on there crawling around real nice and small on the frame in there. All right, with that, I'm not even sure if I want to try and mess with the fondant, but might as well. This might be something they'll still go for. But if anything, it may draw more up there to go after that fondant. All right, my inner covers are this. I've got 3/4 and some 1/4-inch plywood in here. These have a tendency to warp a little bit because of the thin frames on here and the thin plywood. It's not really a big deal, is I can take that, and once I put that on, the top cover goes on. Then I use the ratchet straps and everything comes down nice and neat. But I've got that 2-inch hole at the top here, you can see here, and to plug that I use this, I'm not even sure what this is, maybe 4, yeah, a little hair more than 4.5 inch or so. And I just put that over the top of that hole just to blockade it. And I think we're all set for the top cover. I'll come back in a few days. Oh, let's see, I think Sunday or Monday. Today is Thursday, so maybe Sunday or Monday I'll come back and check them out. See how they're doing up in the new digs. All right, that quilt box is done for the year. Well, this winter season at least. Put that on. And of course the ratchet strap here. I just got another lung full of smoke there, and that's all right, it's still working. And again, like I said, the ratchet strap, I got them on here for several regions. It's windy here, maybe not so much down here amongst the trees to blow things over, but I'd prefer to be safe. We got a lot of trees here, maybe a branch would come down and knock things apart, or we've got bear in the area, or a deer happens to hop the fence and get in here, a bull in a china shop thing. If the bear were to try and knock this off, it would keep it together a little better, hopefully, than that, without the ratchet strap on. All right, let's get going with the next one here, and hopefully this one, now that I got everything I need, will go a little faster. Thank you for watching this episode from Windy Ridge Apiaries. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on any newly posted videos. And at your discretion, please leave a comment below. And until next time, do a good day.